Welcome to the second topic for the Information Systems project. This topic 2, will be about selecting a project. The things covered in this topic will be reasons for selecting a project, the purpose of projects, reviewing some of the material covered in topic 1, analysing projects, and making decisions about which project to continue with. By the end of this topic, students will be able to make an informed choice of their project, understand better the project requirements, understand the use of SWOT analysis and how it can be used to analyse yourself and the project. You will have carried out a SWOT analysis on yourself and on a set of projects, and by the end of this topic, hopefully, you will have chosen an appropriate project. An academic project is different to other projects. You'll remember that what you're trying to understand is your understanding of a topic, your ability to apply your knowledge of your subject to a project, and your ability to work independently. The ability to plan your work independently, and the ability to evaluate your own work and the work of others. So how do you decide which project you want to take? First of all, some considerations. The topic should be of interest to you. You may decide that a particular project is appropriate because it's part of the subject, but if you're not genuinely interested in it, then this will actually impede your progress. You must be capable of completing the work on time, and there is a limited amount of time available for these projects. So bear that in mind when you're choosing your project. Is it possible to complete it in the time that you have? Will it contribute to your personal development? Are you going to learn anything from doing this project? Are you going to learn a new language? Are you going to learn a new technique? Will it meet the requirements of the university? How do you know this? Well, check the unit specification and read the lectures carefully, and that will give you some guidance on that. Okay, there's no point carrying out a project if it doesn't actually meet the requirements of the university. So again, industrial projects need to be chosen very carefully. Some other considerations: who is the project being created for? Is it a real project with a real client? Is it an imaginary project with an imaginary client? Is there a clear outcome to the project? Are you going to create something, or are you going to demonstrate something? And are the necessary resources available in order for you to complete the project? Again, if the resources are likely not to be available to you personally in your particular situation, then you need to think again as to whether the project is worth attempting. As part of the project, you need to analyse your subject in more detail. Your subject as it stands is information systems, as this is what the project is about. So one of the things you can do is look at a standard text on information systems, and we'll make sure some references are available to you. You can look at the curriculum of a university's information systems module. Every university does these things, so you can have a look at a number of university websites and see the kind of content that you'll find in information systems modules. There's professional bodies as well. You can look at their websites. There's the IEEE, British Computer Society, and the Institute of Management Information Systems. You can look at all of these websites and get an idea of the kind of topics that are covered. You can also look at the work you've already done. You will have done a number of modules already, so have a look at those and make sure that anything relating to information systems is dealt with as part of this subject. And of course, you've got fellow students, you've got tutors who are available to you online and in person to have a chat with. Okay, so you're going to have a look at projects and analyse them for suitability. There are a number of other things you can consider in more detail. In the Dawson text, there is a thing that he calls the so what test, and basically you look at why you're doing the project. This is kind of what I was considering in the previous lecture. What are you doing it for? What's the point? Why is it worth doing? Can you explain to a non-IT specialist in a fairly short amount of time what it is you're doing and why it's important? can you put a figure on how much you know about the topic? Okay, if you're choosing a project in a particular area, do you know the subject well? Do you know it a little? Try and put a figure on that. And does it require the use of contacts, external contacts that maybe are in a business? Are you relying on one individual or a number of individuals who are already busy in their own roles to give you information about your project? Are they available to help you? And will they be available to help you when you're desperate? And are they reliable? Some friends and some contacts, very useful, but may not be reliable for your particular needs. So think about this carefully. It's a risk to a project relying on external people. Two other things that you need to consider in more detail are one is the ethical issues of the project. Are there any ethical issues? If you're creating a database that contains real information about real people or real subjects, then there may be ethical issues, and there may also be data protection issues. Remember that consideration of ethical issues is one of the learning outcomes of this project. So if there are ethical issues, that gives you plenty to write about. If there are no ethical issues, actually it still gives you plenty to write about, because you have to show that you've considered them and that you understand other ethical issues that could apply to projects but clearly do not apply to yours. So you'll need to write about these anyway. One way of analysing a project and analysing ourselves is using SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And in order to carry out a SWOT analysis, these four areas need to be related to a specific objective. So the process is that we set an objective and then we look at each of those individual areas, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, compared to that objective. So we can carry out a SWOT analysis on ourselves when trying to achieve a personal objective. So you might want to, for example, improve your ability in spoken English. So what are the things that are going to assist you? What are the things that are going to prevent you from doing this? We can also apply SWOT analysis to a project in order to assess its suitability. The goal here would be to achieve the project or to complete the project, and we look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, all relating to our ability to complete that project. This slide presents a SWOT analysis grid, which is pretty standard across all areas of business, and it contains 4 quadrants, one for each of the areas of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and I've also inserted an area at the top of this grid in order to insert the goal that we're trying to carry out the analysis on. I think this is quite important because it does remind us that we are analysing our ability to achieve, or an organisation's ability to achieve, a particular goal. We're going to use it in this current instance to look at a personal objective, so the goal will be something that we want to achieve. So the 4 quadrants of the SWOT analysis grid include strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Strengths for a personal objective is a thing about us that will help achieve our goal. So for example, if our goal is to improve our spoken English, then strengths might be our current ability to speak the language. It might be our ability to learn a new language, and it might be the amount of motivation that we have in order to achieve this goal. Weaknesses will be the things about us that prevent us from achieving the goal. So those might be a natural inability to learn a language, poor motivation, maybe we've never done this particular language before, so we don't have any previous experience, so that would also be a weakness. Opportunities and threats represent external things, so opportunities are external things or external events that help us achieve a goal, and threats are external things or events that prevent us from achieving a goal. So opportunities may be the location of a large number of English speakers close by so that we can develop our English skills. Threats may be that we're on our own, we don't have any experience, any friends or ability to speak with any English speakers, so that will prevent us from achieving the goal. Okay, so you should understand a little bit about what strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats represent. Remember, strengths are internal things that affect us directly and are properties of us as we are trying to achieve the goal. Opportunities and threats are external things that affect us and allow us to achieve the goal or prevent us from doing so. So when we apply SWOT analysis to the project, we use the same quadrants: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, but this time we think about our achievement of the project. So for strengths, we are going to think about the things about the project that make it a good choice. So does it match the university requirements? Is the project achievable? Are there a minimal amount of resources for us, and so on. For weaknesses, things that make it a bad choice. Is it a project that is far too long? Do we not have access to resources, and so on. Opportunities, things to help achieve the project. So what external things can support us? Do we have a support network of fellow students? Do we have tutors that can help support us? Do we have resources or access to those resources? And threats are external things that prevent the achievement, so kind of the opposite of some of the opportunities: lack of resources, lack of contacts, lack of information. Remember, when deciding what is a strength and what is an opportunity, strengths are things about us and about our project that make it a good choice, and opportunities will be external things that will help achieve that goal, i.e. make it a good choice. So we should, at the end of this, have two sets of results. One is information about our own strengths and weaknesses, and the other one is information about the strengths and weaknesses of a number of project ideas. Maybe we can now find it easy to choose a good project because we've got one with a lot of strengths, but we might need to identify whether these strengths are actually important and how important they are in order to help us choose the best project.